All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Geopolitical Trends, where truth matters. Very excited to be with you. Actually, I woke up this morning very pumped up. I don't know why. There are three things that I noticed. I woke up with a smile. I woke up next to the person I wanted to wake up near to. And the third one, I got like this boost of energy at 6:30 in the morning. So I end up like, okay, this is one of those days we're gonna do this, especially knowing that I was planning on doing this live stream for a topic that I happen to know about and wrote books about, Saudi Arabia, that is, and have a lot to share with you about to put it in perspective for you. So with this glorious day rather of June 15th, halfway of the month, I am very excited to be with you here. So you can just tell. So let me first say hi to everybody. I know yesterday I couldn't do it because when I have guests, guys, just FYI, the approach is completely different. Here, just us, it's a different story. So let me go back to the top, and good hunting. I like your statement, by the way. You said Saudi Arabia is a key nation in the region. What she does mean a lot. Time has come for realignment. Indeed. Shingon, Beast was thick, 383. Good to see you. George, good to see you. Willie Wong, good to see you. U2Z Super, hi to you as well. SS Ray, good to see you. Who is JD, Coach Hoy, Yan Hokor, good to see you. Muslim Revert, Farhad Razavi. Hidi Local, here you are. Good to see you. Hamad Siti, good to see you as always. Matt Backy, here you are. Chanel, good to see you, Chanel. Oh, thank you very much, Chanel. I'm going to share it with you guys. This is what Chanel wrote. Dr. O works hard to keep us informed. He's committed to this channel. I am indeed. So, and you guys know this by now. So this is to me where the commitment is. Of course, the other channel as well. But that's how when you give an effort, you give 110%. And the one thing is you don't expect something in return. This is what doing the right thing means. Of course, in this case, I am very grateful for your support. And because of your support, it's what keeps me going. Straightforward. So this is how I look at it. So Wong KC, good to see you. Cam 35. Willie Holman, good to see you as always. Oh, Jane Wan, thank you so much for your super sticker. Truly appreciate you for that. Phil, as always. Francis Tango. Jimby Zinga. Zinga. Nzinga. I hope I pronounced it correctly. From Babylon, London. Good to see you. All right, Karakulak, here you are. All right, guys, let's get into our topic because I got a lot of stuff to cover into this. And I'm going to share some stuff with you as well. Before I'll do this, I need to mention some housekeeping stuff as to what lies ahead next week. Okay. I got a packed schedule for you guys with interviews, that is. On June 17th, which is Monday, I have an interview with Angelo Giuliano. He is in Beijing. So, and I communicated with him. He's a friend. He and I will share the stage on RT, I believe. It will be fascinating and interesting. A lot of people do not know Angelo's background. Yeah, I'm not going to spell it out for you. Wait till Monday. The only difference this time around is the interview will be at 8 o'clock in the morning, my time, because it's nighttime in Beijing. So, but it will be there. You can watch it later on. I would love to have you join me live if you could. On the 18th, I have none other than Larry Johnson at 12:15. So I look forward to that conversation. I already prepared some really key question to delve deeper with him about all this. And on June 19th, you don't want to miss this with Giant Bahandari. And he is also in China as we speak. So I'll be communicating directly with China, except with Bahandari, I'll be doing it at 8 p.m. because it will be morning time for him. So, all right, guys, let's get into our topic. As I said, I have a lot to cover and prepare your questions. And by the way, appreciate you yesterday for your comments about my guest, Michael Horn. I know it was a different topic. Nonetheless, we ought to be open to perspectives. I do have some personal experience that I never shared with anyone outside except my immediate tribe. Maybe one day I'll share something, maybe not. And I can't make that decision right now. For now, suffice it to say, I am very grateful that you guys show appreciation for the guests that I bring in. So, and you don't have to agree, by the way. You don't have to agree with my guests. If you disagree, please express your opinion. I make it clear to my guests that the insights from my community are very important to me. So if you're going to be offended because someone expressed an opinion, we got a problem there. And they all understand. Literally, they said, no, Dr. O, if we are so grateful to be exposed to your community, because I make it clear to them, they are intellectually a little bit ahead of others. But they're fine. They're fine with whatever. So, all right, let's ask the questions about this topic. And I'm going to share them with you on the screen. You can tell I'm pumped up because in addition to my coffee, of course, and some other stuff that I did since 7 o'clock this morning. So I'm good to go. So, all right, let's ask the questions here. Why did the Saudi snub? And I use the term snub. You know why? It's because some other mainstream media is saying, oh, the Saudis decline this because of the Hajj, the pilgrimage that's going on in Saudi Arabia. It's nonsense. It's not like whomever was going to represent Saudi Arabia, which in that case will be none other than MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. He's going to be standing at the holy shrine in Mecca and all that. No, it's a diplomatic, nicer way. But Western media is saying, oh, it declined. No, he snubbed. Saudi Arabia snubbed G7. Straightforward. So why? That is the key question. Second question is, what message are they sending, meaning the Saudis in this case? Because there is a loud and clear message there. So, and that's part of what we're going to get into this. Third question is this a clear signal of the geopolitical shift? Another sign, another element. You all know what just happened last week with the Saudis ending the dollar, petrodollar. Speaking of that, guys, be on the lookout. Tomorrow, I did one here and one on the other channel for a dedicated video regarding this other specific topic for this one here. And the other one I talked about something else. Very, very important. So, and I appreciate your support because those are dedicated videos for some companies reach out to us because they like what we do, the credibility part of it. And of course, I make it clear, you will not dictate to us what to say and not to say. I'll make it clear from the get-go. And they all say, Dr. O, we're good to go. Whatever you decide, because you know what you're doing. So I appreciate, be on the lookout for it tomorrow. And that's the question is this a clear signal? I shouldn't say, is this clear? I should say, is this another clear signal to the shift of the geopolitical landscape? And the last question is, what this development tells us about the Saudis' relations with both China and the US. And I'm going to share with you one particular brief analysis from my book, because I wrote a book about Saudis, and I'll share with you that one as we get into the conversation. And by the way, guys, make sure you prepare a question or two, because this is what I'm going to be spending with you. And allow me to share this picture with you. And this has nothing to do with the topic. This is why I told you. I woke up this morning with a smile, but I also had a lot of energy. So what I end up doing? You know what I end up doing? Check this out. And this is for Army with Harmony. You asked me last time about my car, right? So here is a picture. I was detailing my own Mustang. Here is the picture. So, yeah, that's what I did this morning. In addition to cleaning the engine and, of course, taking care of the garden and all that stuff, which I will go back as soon as I'm done here. I just wanted to share this with you guys because, you know, you're part of the community. To me, that's what it's all about. So anyway, let's stop this one here and let's get into the hard stuff, what we're going to be talking about. So G7 was conducted in Italy. I have some pictures for you guys, and we're going to be, I'll be going back and forth between screens, and here are the What do you want to call them? Please put describe to me this image in one word or two in the chat box, because I don't want to speak for you. I have my own description. I'd like to know yours. So if you will be kind and put a description that will be befitting for those, you finish the sentence. Let me see what you guys write. Yeah, crooks, Rick Payton, you are spot on. Alice Talikian, clowns, Gang of Evil, YT, a group of, what did you write? Muslim Revert, a group of idiots. That's my word. Also, idiots. You're right. It's not a laughing matter, guys. This is not a laughing matter. It just, that's the way they ought to be described. And this is where the idea of their meeting that took place actually ended today for the G7. And I am gonna get into a little bit of history about G7. So all this, the key that we are covering in this has to do with this guy. Well, of course, it's Saudi Arabia in general. Saudi Arabia snubbing G7 because they didn't want to go, and there is a reason for that. So now, as I said, Western media is using certain terminology, like, for example, the MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, that is, declined an invitation to attend. Funny how they said, look, listen carefully. And I quote, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, has declined an invitation to attend a communication session of the G7 summit in Italy on Friday. End of quote. See how they put in it specific to highlight to you that, oh, he was just invited for the communication session. It won't matter. Invited to a communication or whatever. When you're invited, meaning to the G7. And that's where the decline came in when he said, no, I'm not coming, snubbing it basically. And of course, the Saudis have to play the diplomatic role, because that's the norm in a world of diplomacy. You don't just come straight forward like this. You do it in a subtle way. And the way it was done, MBS sent a message to Giorgia Meloni thanking her for her invitation, but said, oh, I am unable to attend because of my obligations for the supervise the work of the officials of the kingdom Hajj. Hajj, the Arabic word for pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia, which is time of the year in the Muslim world, this celebrate the holiday there. So this is part of what it is. Well, before I'll do this, I am going to do a little bit of brief history about the G7. Then we'll go into more analysis about this one here. So there's the idiots again. So no further comments is warranted for this. So we're going to be talking about G7. What is G7? So, well, of course, just briefly, what does it stand for? Of course, it's known as the Group of Seven. It used to be 8 till what year it dropped from 8 to 7. Does anybody know? What year G8 switched from G8 to G7? I just need the year. That's all I need to know. Do you know what year? And again, because I like to Brooklyn Slaughterhouse, you got it. Jane 1, you got it. It's 2014. The second question is, why? Does anybody know? All right, let me see quickly here. See. Oh, yeah, David King, you got it. I think, yeah, David King, and also Cartesian, you'll say RU, which means Russia, that is. Let me say thank you to Emmanuel Beltran. Thank you so much for your super sticker. Truly appreciate you for that, Emmanuel. You're absolutely correct, guys. It was Russia was kicked out. Why was it kicked out? Because of Crimea, as you may already know. So now the question is, from the historical perspective, is why the G7 was created. Well, it was created for more than, by the way, how long G7 has been around? Just give me a bulk number or decades. I just want to get your knowledge here also. And I like exchanging this with you guys because, you know, how long have been around? Harry Local, you got it. It was about Crimea, why they kicked Russia out. About 2 decades. No, more than that. More than that. 25 years. More than that. Oh, let me say thank you, because now it's just us. I can interrupt this and say thank you so much for the super sticker for Terehono Sogandi. My apologies if I mispronounced it. So thank you so much for your super sticker. Greatly appreciate it. Dara, 57 years. It was about 4 decades, just to be exact. 4 decades, just for your own knowledge. You know. And the whole reason for this one was created because it was the annual gathering of the political leaders, that is. Well, the whole reason for why G7 was created, it was to converse over a range of ideas or issues or topics, whatever you want to call it. That includes the economy, that includes global security, because when I studied, for example, in my master's degree, I was specialized in international security. And we used to address this kind of issues as the blocks like the G7, which was the purpose for what's created, part of it to discuss security. And it was also energy. However, that thing now has changed. You know why? Because now it became more politically and ideologically driven. You know, tell me, I mean, I'll ask you guys, you don't have to answer, I'm just asking. How often do you hear now G7 talking about economy? It's more about the ideology and politics. So what happened to that notion under which G7 was created? And this is when you look, and my reason for mentioning this, because this is to me what I see might end up happening to BRICS if they don't get their act together as far as understanding now that they have over 96 countries interested. You can grow that big, but you also have to understand which direction you're going to be going. And we're going to be addressing this one as we move forward. So that is the reason now. To me, right now, G7 is a hollow. G7 is worthless, but it is nothing but a mouthpiece for the political and the ideological outlook, because that's all they're looking at. Well, you have France, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the US. And back then, here is again something. You see this map here. I'm pointing at it. Now, which country back then, and I want to just test your knowledge, because he formed the group of 6. Okay? It was West Germany. What year was it? What year was the 6th? Because at that time it was France, Italy, Japan, UK, US, and West Germany. If you notice, Canada wasn't there, right? So what year was that when the group of 6 was formed? See if you can type in the chat box. Oh, you got it, Yassine. Yassine Sirin, you got it. Kurik brothers, between 15 or 70 years. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. So you guys got it. It's in the 1975. So, and this is why the idea of where now I see the G7, it's useless. It is useless because the time when it was established, the geopolitical landscape was different than what it is today. Okay? And of course, 1975, why is that important? Because think about it. 2 years before that, what happened? What happened 2 years before 1975? Once again, guys, this is basic knowledge. You ought to know. You ought to know. 2 years before 1975, what happened? Jane Won, you got it. Oil embargo, Muslim revert, oil embargo. That is correct. Matt Becky, you got it. Oil embargo. Why is this important to understand? It's because the inflation and recession that followed the OPEC embargo. This is why that 1975 was crucial to this. And right after that, the following year, Canada joined in. Okay, Russia will eventually join in 1998. You know, and of course, At that time, a lot of people in the West, I'm also interpreted it that way. At that time, I was saying, you know what? Maybe this is like the sort of a hint or the sign or whatever your term you want to use as far as the cooperation between the East and the West. And of course, after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, it became like clear that, okay, this is where things are headed. So now, as I mentioned, the group includes the G7, that is. It includes US, UK, Germany, Canada, Japan, France, Italy. Together, listen carefully, guys, together represent 40% of GDP and 10% of the world population. Now, put those figures and compare them to either ASEAN or BRICS or both. You can just see. I mean, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. It's as clear as daylight that both ASEAN and BRICS will dwarf G7. This is why G7 within the next 5 or 10 years, it might not mean a thing anymore. So the only difference for the G7 is you got the European Union being involved in G7. This is where the key. This is why when you look at, for example, and I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to show you a picture. And look who is at the end on your right side of the screen. Now, what is she doing there? If we are to say they are only same for her and the guy on the left. On the left, his name is Michel. What are they doing there? It's just to highlight to you. The liar Ursula always has to stick her nose in things that doesn't belong to her. But that's beside the point. It's to highlight to you the idea of the European Union, how it gets involved. The same arguments can be made about NATO because of the statements coming out of the liar Ursula towards pushing the narrative. And this because the involvement of the EU has been with G7 since 1977. Once again, this is why I'm highlighting this to point to you the idea of how now this G7, it became nothing but a political and ideological entity. No more, no less. It's because the West is losing its grip on the global hegemony. And like what the Saudis just did with ending the US dollar, the petrodollar, that is. This is why I did that dedicated video that I look forward for your comment tomorrow when you guys read it. And I am going to be addressing this topic also with my guest, Angelo Giuliano. So, because this is his background. You will know on Monday. So the idea for you to think, you don't put this in a vacuum as far as the Saudi decisions. No. It is well calculated. It is strategically motivated. And it is also meant to send the message to the US. That's what's at the heart of it. Because remember one thing. The dawn of the Petro-Yuan and the dusk, meaning the going down or the end, basically. There are some media using those terminologies. No. It's the end of petrodollar. Where the question is going to be, and some of you guys have pointed this out, where the question is going to be, you know what's going to be, is what the US is going to do now to Saudis behind the scenes. I was in Washington. I'm aware of what we do in this kind of scenarios. So I won't be surprised that you're going to be seeing some regions in Saudi Arabia, like the southeastern part of Saudi Arabia, because that's called the area of Najran. Najran is majority Shia, but also has oil. Put the two and two together and figure it out. That's exactly. The other thing is the gold that the Saudis have in the US and the money they have. Here is one reality a lot of people do not know. Even some of us Americans are clueless about it. And I'm going to tell you this. Do you know if the Saudis take their money out of the US, the economy will sink? US economy. That's how much money they have inside the system here. That $120 billion gold that I saw with my own eyes is nothing. It's peanut. If you only understand the amount of money the Saudis have. So, and this is why you look at this from all fronts. It's a strategic move by the Saudis to go into that direction. And for a reason that is. So the idea that the G7, and of course, part of this history goes back to 2014 when they decided to kick Russia out because of Crimea. Well, you know, Russia kind of made it clear to the West, NATO, whatever, do not keep expanding eastward to our doorsteps. What do you expect the Russians are going to do? So they kind of retaliated for that and took over. Simple as that, because there is no other way of looking at it. So now, let's get into the analysis now about really how this can be categorized and perceived on the international stage. Because like I always say, and you know this by now, guys, in international relations, context matters. The fact that the Saudis snubbed, you know, we'll use the term declined as the Western media is saying, but it is snubbed, because I'm going to share with you the list of who was invited, and you'll reach your own conclusions. So like, of course, every time this kind of blocks conduct, BRICS does it. It's nothing new, nothing. It's the norm. It's just sometimes when you look at the list of guests, that gives you an idea. So G7 decided to invite, I only have one picture here of this guy. You all know who this is now. What the heck is the Pope? Whatever, you know, why the heck is he doing in G7 for? You know, it's a laughing matter that a man of God, however you perceive God to be, getting involved in politics, you know, since when? But also, if you know the dark side of the Vatican, that's a different conversation for another day. Especially if you get to the, what should I term it? If you go in underground to certain vaults in the Vatican and what's there. Again, that's a conversation for another day. Suffice it to say that don't ever, just as an advice, guys, this is not a warning, as an advice, don't ever minimize the role of the Vatican regarding major geopolitical events. I'll take you back to prior to 1991. I take you specifically to 1987, 1989, when Reagan was making contact at that time in Poland under the auspices of, who was at the time the Pope? Can you guys can you type in the chat box? Who was the Pope at that time? Late 80s. I know there is a delay here for this to show up. So John Paul II, Tom Chan, you got it. You got it. And I saw a nice comment there by Faith. Now let me look. I'll look it up here. Faith, thank you for sharing this comment. And you are right. When the West lose power, the church does as well. Spot on. A lot of people. And again, guys, FYI for the record, I state this because it's public knowledge, whatever. I have great respect for traditions, for faith, whatever. Just I want to put this out. Now, the way I look at it is very different. So, and again, this is not on the whim of my head, you know. I did my own research. I digged into whatever I needed to dig into to understand. But to go back to my point about the involvement of the Vatican. Of course, some will say, well, it was in Italy and all. No. There is an underlying aspects of it. But beside the point, let's get on with the list here. Who else was invited? King of Jordan. You know, I call him King of Britain too. You know, he's British. You guys know this, right? You know, he's British because his mother. King of Jordan. Then who else came in? Comedian Z, Modi, Brazil, Argentina, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Kenya, Algeria, Tunisia, and Mauritania. Let me repeat the list. King of Jordan, Comedian Z, Modi, I'll just say the country, Ukraine, India, Brazil, Argentina, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Kenya, Algeria, Tunisia, and Mauritania. What they all have in common? Can anybody type in? I know that I'm just throwing this up. Can anybody, what, in your opinion, what all these countries have in common? Something that you might not know it. It's because it's not a specific, it's in general term. So let me just say it and move on. Colonies, that's one, of course, Muslim River. The other thing I was going to say is the global south, part of all that. So energy, of course, that's part of it. And this is where you have to think in terms of the Saudi optics of it. So, you know, this is why you have to understand why certain countries were invited. For example, I'll give you just a quick example. Mauritania. How often do you hear about Mauritania? Okay. And why is this? Because Mauritania currently holds the presidency of the African Union, which means what? Means that the imperialist Western colony, the West, if they still want to have their access to Africa, they're going to go through Mauritania. Let alone, and I mentioned this in a video about 3 or 4 months ago, guys. What did Mauritania sign with NATO? Training agreement. You all can see where this is leading. G7, didn't invite these countries just for the heck of it. You know, of course, India. What does India share in common with the other? BRICS. India is the only one, because the other four, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and all this, they are officially there. But so for now, because it's till 2024, the summit, the BRICS summit, which will be in Kazan, that will be the official aspects of it. So far, you're still hearing about the 5 countries of BRICS. So India, because India has always been, they can vote either way or either direction. And now you see why Turkey wanted to join BRICS at all. So if you think about it, Turkey was also invited. It was invited. Why? Is it because they went ahead and imposed the tariffs on China? That means they are in line with the EU, following the orders of the US? Or is it because Turkey aspired to be part of BRICS and it can be in the same boat with India? That means they can influence the decisions inside BRICS. Those are just my own comment. I'll let you reach your own conclusion for that. But here is one of the interesting aspects of all this. Do you guys know that before the EU sent the invitation to Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince MBS met with the comedian Z? Yeah, it was a meeting that took place. And guess why Z ended up going, comedian Z that is, ended up going there? Well, because he wants to rally support for the summit, which is today and tomorrow in Switzerland regarding Ukraine peace summit. You don't hear much about. I'm not going to talk about it because it's worthless. You know, the same thing with the UK elections. Sometimes, guys, if I don't address something, I have my reasons. And I will not waste your time. But here is the thing, what I found very interesting. You know what's interesting about this summit, this meeting rather, after? Western media is reporting, and I read the report that was published in Kiev. Okay? That's what it was published, because that goes in coordination with Western media. It's no different than what happened, for example, when CNN says something. That statement, whatever that is, has already been coordinated with the other parties, whatever that might be. This is no different. So what they said is what I found was it stated that there is no official confirmation on the Saudi decision, which is a lie, because Saudi Arabia declined to attend Switzerland summit. That's how much they are lying. So when they say something like that, you kind of like, how much faith or trust I will put into what they are saying? And this is where that difference is, what I want you to get out of this. Yes, as I said, you have to think about the optics of it. So, because here is the thing. To Saudi Arabia, that is already made that decision. Here's another, I got a picture of the meeting, which is ridiculous. I read some press release inside in Arabic language because I speak the language, and to me it was like, wow, that just giving him lip service. So it was the same when the Saudis decided, like, you know what, this invitation from this group of idiots, well, no, we don't need to waste our time and energy. And also because Saudis thinking strategically here. Here is one thing that I need you also to know for MBS, which, by the way, he has a tense relations with the West, especially the United States. And when I say the United States, it's not about just Biden. Also has to do with the CIA. Why? Because it was the CIA that was listening to his communications when he ordered the targeting of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi, which you all know what happened. I wrote about it in the book. I had to amend some other things, send them to the government for approval, and they said fine. Of course, the government wanted that information to be out, and of course, MBS never forget that. I all remember when Biden was saying, we're gonna hold him accountable and all. It was nothing. It was nothing but hypes. So to Saudi, to MBS, there is a much bigger issue and that issue is domestic. Remember, I wrote a book about Saudi Arabia. I detailed exactly what is going on inside the kingdom from a political perspective. And I'm going to share something with you about that one, and just to share it with you. So I wrote back then that even back then, to me, it became clear we are at a turning point, especially when it comes down to the U.S.-Saudi relations. And all this because of why? Because of Asia. Asia growing oil demands. Now you see why the Saudis didn't renew the agreement on June 9th this year, ending the petrodollar permanently. And also because the Saudis seems to be convinced that it is time. And remember, I did the research back in 2015-16, and I published the book in 2018, I think, somewhere around that. Speaking of the book, by the way, guys, I made decision and I found out certain ways of how I am gonna be uploading the electronic version of the book. Would you guys be interested in this? I'm gonna have to put some fees for it, a minimum, just to cover the cost for the platform. So, and I'm going to put a survey for you because I want to see how it goes with this. If it works out, I'm uploading the other books as well for you, except the last one. The last one, because of the legal contract that I still have to abide by with the publisher till next year. But for the Saudi book and my other ones, but I'm going to start with the Saudi. And again, I'm going to put it at some fees of sort, very, very minimal. But I'm also have to be fair. Fairness is very important to me. Justice is very important to me. Now, for the member on Buy Me Coffee, I have members there, and I have members on the YouTube channel. So it will only be fair to have them have access to this one. For the rest, I'm going to put a minimum fee to it. This is why the publishers are just, to me, charging, I think, what, $26? What? No, I won't do that. But anyway, So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'll keep you posted on this. So what I wrote back then is that the Saudis are convinced now it is time to pivot from the United States, but at the same time, keeping their security arrangements with the US. And this is exactly what they did on June 9th last week by ending the petrodollar on the economic side, but they kept the security arrangements. So, and also the Saudis are back then and now and moving forward to 2030. They are pre-positioning themselves for the economic change that is already underway in Asia. So, unfortunately for the Saudis, and it's never too late, is that Iran and Qatar have already embarked on that train and intend to benefit from major economic ventures with China, India, and South Korea. So, and this is why, as I argued back, based on my own analysis, is that a new thinking is emerging, has been emerging in both Saudi Arabia and even the United States. So, and the citizens on both countries are seeing, especially in Saudi Arabia, are seeing the reality for what it is and seeking a path forward to achieve their needs and dreams. For us Americans, you ask an average Joe, average Jane about the relationship of what is the relationship is all about, they're not going to know. We are poor readers of history. We don't understand. We are not willing to sit down and read history and learn. We like to watch TV, the idiot box, as I call it. We like to be sort of preoccupied intellectually, but it's also a design by the government because the government doesn't want people to think. You start to think, you become a threat to the government. The government rather keep you occupied with the incendiary thing, you know, about this Hollywood nonsense stuff, about this, about that, because I don't want you to focus on the key issue. This is exactly what the Saudis been thinking the government. So the alarm clock is set for a wake-up call, as I wrote in the book, you know, to truly place the relationship of the Saudis and the US under the microscope of reality, which is leading to the conclusion. And here's my conclusion that I wrote in the book, that even long-lasting relationships will eventually come to an end sooner or later. Saudis wanted to be the one to initiate that, not the US. This is what I want you to get out of all what's going on right now with the Saudi decision regarding the petrodollar, with the Saudi decision to snub G7. They wanted to initiate the trajectory, to exit that. They don't want to wait for the US to do it. The question will become is, this comes in time when Saudi Arabia, okay, is strengthening its relationship with Russia and China. And mind you also that Saudi Arabia now is the major exporter of oil to China. So this close economic ties with Russia and China have strengthened. And the way you know it, you know how you know it, guys? No matter what part of the world you're in, I am sure you observed the prices at the gas pump for last week and a half. And correct me if I'm wrong. Now, even if you are in Malaysia, Indonesia, China, Japan, Brazil, Mexico, US, France, Germany, whatever, you notice this. Why is that? It's because the Saudis have entered into agreement with OPEC Plus to maintain the production cut of oil. It's just the game. It's part of what the geopolitics is all about. This is what a lot of people do not understand, the dynamics. And to Saudi Arabia, there is, even as I said earlier, a much bigger issue there. And this one has to do with MBS himself. And the issue is, when you look at, I didn't have a picture of, let me see here, Mohammed bin Nayef. If I could get a picture of him. Yes, I do have a picture here. Let me share it with you. quickly here. Put 7. All right. And once I explain to you, it will make more sense. Thanks. Why? A lot of people here in the West do not know. It's for a reason. For a reason. It's because the U.S.-Saudi relations is very, very, very delicate. Very. Let me share a screen here. Maybe it's be easier that way. Where is 7? No. Okay, come on, man. All right, save image. 9. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me here. And just computer sometimes. 9. Okay. Let's close this one. 9. And it's to me it's a much bigger problem if you only know the dynamics within the kingdom. And this one has to do with bloodline. And I'm gonna explain to you briefly. I disclosed it in the book, detailed everything. So now, as I said, this guy here was arrested, by the way, house arrest. It was house arrest by MBS. This is Mohammed bin Nayef, known as MBN. Mohammed bin Nayef. There is MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, which is this one here. Okay, and there is Mohammed bin Nayef. Mohammed bin Nayef used to be the head of deals with the domestic intelligence agencies inside. He had a good relationship with the CIA. Still have a good relationship, except that he is in house arrest. Nobody hears about him anymore. Why? Because MBS put him in house arrest. And why is this? And I'm going to give you a background here briefly here. So, in the Saudi tradition, there's always the next king. That's why most of the kings in Saudi Arabia are in late 70s, are in the 80s. They end up living 5, 6, 8, 10 years max, and they die because they have to wait for their turn. It's like a long line. Okay, when you go to grocery shopping, you wait to check out. The same thing. Well, what did MBS do? What did he do? This guy came from, I guess I'm just excited. What did he do? What did he do? He came from way at the end of the line and jumped to the front, to the throne. Because who was at the forefront? It was this guy. This guy was supposed to be the crown prince. That means next king. MBS came from way back of the line and came to the forefront. That's why MBS embarked on arresting the prince. Even bin Talal, who is another billionaire, he was arrested at the Ritz-Carlton. I wrote an article about it. I'm gonna dig it out and put it for you guys. And please remind me. Sometimes I forget. One of you reminded me about something, and I am very grateful to you. So here is where the difference between these two. This one here, which is a half brother of King Salman, because King Salman, which is Mohammed bin Salman's father, you don't hear much about it. He's old. He's just laying in bed, whatever that is. Mohammed bin Salman is the last in line of the brothers, or the King Faisal's sons. King Faisal had so many. So the difference between this guy and this guy has to do with the bloodline, not from the father, but from the mother. Mohammed bin Salman's mother is from a different tribe. Okay? That means once this guy on your screen becomes the king, that's going to change the trajectory of the kingship. It's going to move. Of course, his dad is King Mohammed bin Salman, the last of the King Faisal's sons back then. This is where the difference is. And this is why, because for us, we had a good relationship with MBN, Mohammed bin Nayef. than we do with MBS. That's what I want you to know. Of course, when we disclosed the audio recording of MBS giving the orders to take out Jamal Khashoggi, it was the CIA that disclosed that. He became very agitated with the US, and this is part of the policies he's embarking on. Second thing is that MBS himself wanted to have that Vision 2030. When he became crown prince, his first trip was here to the state of Texas. He was in Houston. Why did he come to Houston? It's because Texas is known for having some really serious wealthy people, because also oil. No. He was looking for serious money to invest in NEOM. NEOM is the city that he wants to develop. Now, I am not criticizing him. I applaud the guy for his thinking or whatever. But at the same time, he had to learn, and he's still learning, how international relations and geopolitics operate. You don't go and issue orders of neutralizing critics and so forth. Can't do that. You don't go from at the end of the line to the forefront. But again, it's their country. They can decide whatever they want. I'm not. I'm just an observer from outside. So, but to me, as a geopolitical analyst, I see where things are headed, and it gives me a hint as to, because these policies, remember, King Salman, his father can't get involved anymore. He's old. It's just a matter of days, maybe weeks, maybe months. We wish him well. So that means what? The US and the CIA, for that matter, they are concerned that they're going to be dealing with this guy for the next 4, 5, or even 6 decades. He's only in his late 30s or mid 30s, whatever that is. And remember the tradition. Most of the kings in Saudi Arabia are in late 70s, early 80s. So this is what's at the heart of it. I need you to understand this, because mainstream media ain't going to disclose this to you guys. They won't. So this is what I want you to understand, and place this decision of snubbing G7 within this context. Then comes the big elephant. I got to show you a picture, and I give credit to Investopedia. That's their picture. This is the group of 7. It is just saying what it is. Intergovernmental organization that addresses international economics and monetary issues. No. This might be the case back 3 or 4 decades ago. Not anymore. What they are doing now, they are part of pushing for conflict, because you all know what lies ahead moving forward. The next front is Asia. NATO is already pre-planning all this. 2 days ago, Canada sent a naval ship to Cuba. The US mobilizes its naval assets near Florida. We all know where this is going. G7 is no different, given that NATO also, because G7, why? Japan. So this is where you see this overlapping between entities inside Europe, the EU, G7, NATO. You all see where this is going. And for NATO to go ahead and establish an office in Japan, that just tells you the story right there. And I want you to understand those decisions, those dynamics, to provide you, because once you understand this, you'll have a clear picture of the landscape, the geopolitical one, that is. So, because the next front is Asia as far as tensions. And this is why I'm thinking to myself, and it's something I'm going to be addressing with Larry. So make sure to join me for that. Because one of the questions I was thinking about asking him is the idea of, will it be out of sort of the norm if I am to suggest maybe China, maybe Iran join Russia in the drills in the Caribbean, because Russia is going to be in for the whole summer. Why not? Freedom of navigation, And I know there are those who are saying, oh, you don't like America. Stop this nonsense, because it's nonsense. To me, I always look at it like this weak argument. If you don't have something of substance to say, what are you sort of making a mockery out of yourself by stating some stupid comment? Oh, you hate America, or you do. Nonsense. Nonsense. So this is what I need you to understand about why Saudi Arabia went ahead and snubbed G7. Then comes the big elephant, and that's how I'm going to conclude this and answer some of your questions. What is the big elephant in a room? The big elephant is BRICS, ASEAN, but mainly BRICS. Why? Because you look at massive number of countries, mainly the entire global south wanted to be part of BRICS. Saudi is already there. Egypt is already there. United Arab Emirates is already there. Turkey wanted to be there. So India is always there to me. And again, nothing against India. I just state the fact to the best of my understanding of how the dynamics are. And by the way, this is not just about India. Turkey might end up being the same. Nigeria will be the same. Till they clarify. They need to clarify as to where they stand. That's like for us here, guys. You know, if I am not to clarify to you where I stand on the issues, what gives you why would you even listen to me? Yeah, because the common answer you're gonna give, which makes sense, is why should I listen to you when we don't even know where you stand on issue A or issue B and so forth? Same argument. I mean, so the big elephant is BRICS, and this is why when you look at the list. Let me go back to that list here and highlight to you the key countries that were invited. You know, beside those that are already in: India, Brazil, Argentina, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Kenya, Algeria, Tunisia, Mauritania. Speaking of Algeria and Tunisia, before I forget, I did the video for you about Tunisia, and I'm going to do another one about Algeria, and one I just came to know about yesterday about Morocco signing a tourism agreement with China. Well, hold on a second. Wasn't Morocco the one that turned down China for helping with infrastructure in the city of Tangier up north? Is Morocco watching where the trajectory is headed by having Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt is part of BRICS? So you see what I'm getting at, right? You know, because Morocco, you all know, is a client of the US. Because there is a reason for that. So, and to me, that's the idea of why G7 invited those particular countries. So funny, they didn't invite Morocco. You know why? Because there are tensions between France and Morocco. And G7, that's how they operate. This is the same argument that I made when Algeria expressed interest into joining BRICS, and who objected it? Do you guys, can anybody type in the chat box who objected that? It wasn't official, they just expressed interest, but it was already rejected. By whom? If you guys can type into chat box, please. And that was for you. And I looked into it because I reached out to. No. You're right. I'm talking about inside BRICS. Yeah, you got it. I saw one here. Which one was it? USAA on life support. It was India. It was India that objected it, but on behalf of whom? Which you already answered, guy. Harry Leclerc, France. Trejono, France. You're right. On behalf of France. So why am I saying this? Is to highlight to you that G7 member, EU member, whatever, doing the bidding behind the scenes. And this is where my concern for where BRICS is going if they just bring in whomever. And again, they have their own reasons whether to accept country or not. I know that Russia is advocating for Turkey's involvement in BRICS. Well, just because Russia said it doesn't mean it's going to happen. So we shall see in October, and I'm gonna oh, how much I wish I will attend an event like that and do my own observations live over there, but I don't know. So maybe, who knows? Who knows? So, but that is the idea. So I wanted to highlight to you the idea of the BRICS, the big picture into all this. Then ASEAN. This is the meeting between Prabowo and India. So, because there is a closer relationship between the two, and the reason because Indonesia has larger Muslim community as well. Same with Malaysia. So, speaking of Indonesia, somebody sent me a comment saying if I will consider moving to Indonesia and teach over there. You know, I'm not ruling that out. The possibility is there, but till I have to. There's a lot of moving parts to all this. I have to check a few things, and then I have to figure out the entity or institution that deals with my domain, because I can't teach just whatever, and I refuse to do that. If I don't teach my domain, then I'm not teaching at all. So then the picture I showed you of Prabowo, ASEAN. Those are the two big elephants, BRICS and ASEAN, because the G7 and G20, for that matter, they are realizing they are losing the global south to BRICS mainly, but ASEAN is on when it comes down to Asia at the time. So this is where that the big picture out of all this one here, and that's one thing I want you to get and understand. Nothing happens in a vacuum. And the Saudis did snub G7. So I will be wondering between now and the next G20 summit. Of course, Saudi is going to be there because they are part of G20. Yeah, I'm talking about the dynamics, what we will be witnessing by then. So suffice it to say that for G7, now it's more and more becoming irrelevant when you look at the idiots just and this, you look at it through the elections of the far right in Europe. They don't want those clowns anymore, and the citizens they have the right to choose whomever they want. And same for us here and I speak for my country, I can speak for others. For us we don't have. We have a leadership deficiency. We have been having a leadership deficiency here in the U.S. for a while. Gone the era of Eisenhower, for example. JFK to a degree. Right after that, they are all crooks. System is so corrupted to its core. So, and same thing in Europe. It's moving into that direction. All right, guys, I am going to answer some questions for you. I want once again say thank you for your support. Speaking of support, I want to give a shout out to it got me a PayPal just to say thank you, because that's the right thing. Salim Romaldaro, thank you very much for your PayPal support for my channel. I'm very grateful to you. To others who are members of the Buy Me Coffee, I am going to figure out, for the members, I'm going to figure out a way for you to download the copy of the Saudi book, but I'm going to put it for price for just something, just to pay, to cover the cost for the platform. No more, no less. You don't have to get it if you don't want to. Literally, if you want for that, I'll just release it. But I'm going to be looking into all this because I spent a lot of years doing the research and writing all this. So the first book, especially the first book, this one here, some of you might not like it because it's academic, pure academic. So the ambiguous foreign policy of the United States towards the Muslim world. So I'm going to organize all this and send it to you guys. But thank you all for your support. Just to remind you, remember to join me on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah, 3 in a row. I might do another live stream for you on Monday because I have the live stream at 8 with my guest, but I might do another something for you around 12:30. Haven't decided yet, and we'll see. So, all right, let me take a few questions from you guys, and we just go from there. As always, appreciate you keeping the conversation civil here. It says a lot. And by the way, all the guests that I brought so far, and I communicate with them via email, they all said, you know, what a great community you have. I said, well, I told you, I told them, I told you at the beginning, my community here, it's intellectually a little bit ahead of others. No offense to other communities elsewhere. You know, I don't judge that way. It's just, I've been around you now long enough, and I know where you are at, intellectually speaking. So, okay, let's take a question by some of you. All right, let's take this one. Edith, first time I see you here, so welcome to the channel. By the way, guys, please hit the like button. I will really appreciate it, and share the video, and of course subscribe if you have not already done so. I am very grateful to you. So, all right, you put question: U.S. sending its lawmakers to India to meet the Dalai Lama. What do you think? Is there trying to raise the Tibet issue? Of course. The Dalai Lama. I might even do a video for you about this. Now, there is something that some of you might get shocked to find out. And I'm going to just ask you a question. You don't have to answer it. Just think about it till we do a video on it. Is the Dalai Lama a CIA agent? I'll let you think. So the short answer to your question here, Edith, that is true. Because we are now seeing the elections in India. Now you have, what's his name? Rahul Gandhi. And now that guy is something politically. I am learning about him. And I intend to address it with Jayant Bhandari. That guy is a thorn for Modi. In other words, he's the one who's going to be, this is why I put in the title, who's going to be now directing Modi? Who's going to be now controlling Modi? So the US is kind of, that's how we play it. This is why, FYI, this is why we said publicly, even though there was no official documentation for it publicly, that Ladakh belongs to India, which you and I know ain't true. So there is a reason for that. And I'm going to look into this one here. Thank you for the question. All right, let me see another question. Okay. Oh, Lokel, you're right. Dr. O, if you go, don't move to Jakarta, Indonesia. No, I don't plan on to big cities like that. I don't like big cities. I don't. So, no, I won't go to Jakarta. So, it will have to be some outside. Bali, there are a lot of expats over there, but no, even Bali. And for something like this, I will be having a conversation with Kaza. So, of course. YT. Oh, great question. I forgot to address this one here, which I wrote in the book. The question is MBS at risk of being taken out? My answer is yes. I disclosed it in the book. It will be just a matter of time. And you know why? I'm going to share with you history once again. Can anybody tell me what happened in Saudi Arabia in 1975? (1975) major event happened. If you only know why. So let me see in the chat box. (1975). Oh, Muslim revert. You got it. King Faisal. Someone died. That's correct, Ivana. Who was it? It was King Faisal. The king was assassinated. JF, that's correct. By whom? Oh, Iris Chu, thank you so much for your super sticker. Truly appreciate you, man. By whom? No, it wasn't about petrodollar. No, 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 no. Not a CIA. No, no. It was Francis Tango, you got it, by his nephew. Why? It's because it was his nephew's dad. In other words, the king's brother was supposed to be king. This is exactly why I expect and anticipate, maybe now, maybe soon, maybe later. That's just something that clicked for me. The outcome for MBS, it will be just a matter of time. The same outcome that happened to King Faisal. Because MBS, as I said, came from way at the end of the line to the front. And remember, there are 2,000 princes inside the kingdom, the monarchy. 2,000. There is something called loyalties based on the tribe, bloodline. So, and that's why it will be just a matter of time before someone take him out. For us, we could contribute to that behind the scenes. So that's a great question. That is great question. So, Francis, oh, Lucal, much appreciate you, man. Thank you. Lucal's been an avid supporter. Oh, I am very grateful to you guys. I'm very grateful. I want you to know I do not, I repeat this, I do not take it for granted. I just want you to be aware of this, and I will pay it forward because that is the right thing to do in life. You pay it forward. I usually don't disclose what I do, whatever, because when you do a good deed, there is no need to brag about it. There is no need, oh, I did this. No. To me, the good deeds are done quietly. No need for, so I promise you that that good deed will be paid forward. So much appreciate you guys. All right, let me take one more question here, and we just go. I'm gonna scroll all the way up. Yeah, petrodollar is over. Petrodollar is over. All right, Karakulak, an avid supporter too. Thank you for being here. Who will protect the Saudis after they drop the petrodollar? Well, remember, petrodollar is just one of many other aspects that revolve around the U.S.-Saudi relations economically. So we might not see anything. It's just that it's gonna, of course, this is a seismic shift because now the financial system, the global financial system is gonna shift, whether we like it or not, because countries now have other alternative, and especially if they move forward with CBDC because of the cross-border transactions, which made it easier away from the SWIFT. Not under the U.S. The U.S. can't sanction any because they won't care. So, but the Saudis are not dumb. Saudis are smart enough to know we're gonna have to keep the good graces with the Americans by buying more weapons. This is why the Saudis cannot switch their weapons to start buying the Russians or the Chinese. Which common sense. Do you guys know how long will it take to change your weapons from A to B? And the training involved and so forth. So the Saudis not going to do it. So that's why they're going to maintain. Except that what we could be seeing is that we will push for certain, shall we say, pockets of conflicts here and there. And like I said, I spent time in the country. I moved around close by. I didn't go to all areas. But I was in one particular area in the south. You know, it was off-limit base and all that stuff, and a lot of people do not know about. And the idea of I can just see, we'll send the support the groups there and say, hey, we want you to attack this or that, you know. Or it might come from Yemen, or it might come from some other groups. But that era, even that, it's coming to an end because we don't have any more credibility left. So most countries in West Asia are saying, US, it's over. There is a new world order, and you need to adapt to it. So who will protect them? We still have security arrangements with the Saudis. That's just from the economic aspects of it. All right, guys, I am going to sign off here because I got to go work on the garden. I still have a lot of energy to go get the work done and all that. But I was so excited to be with you here on the channel, share with you the knowledge, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday. As always, remember, geopolitics impact your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.